Okay, good morning and hello, everyone. This is Lou Martin, and this is my Awakened Spirits Network YouTube channel. And I'm delighted and grateful to be sharing this time with my dear friend Declan Kavanaugh, who I just asked him, "Can I describe you as an angel channel?" He said, "Yeah, that's okay." So that's going to be one of the things that Declan will share with us today. But he also was wanting to jump into the deep end of the pool and do a meditation for everyone to begin to get centered, because that's how valuable he knows this whole journey is. So, Declan, welcome and great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Lou. And we'll take this moment now to center ourselves. So, keeping both feet firmly on the floor. So, I invite everybody now just to close their eyes. And as you close your eyes, just breathe in through the nose, breathing in deeply, down to the floor, down into your feet. And just feel that connection there now. So, breathing in and out. And every time you breathe out, just feel those roots going down into the floor, into the ground, into Mother Earth, anchoring us deeper and deeper into Mother Earth. So breathing in and out. And as we align ourselves with Mother Earth, become aware also of a beam coming from our third eye, going all the way up to the very heavens, connecting us to our higher self and to the angelic realms. You might visualize this now as a golden beam coming down from the very heavens, healing us, energizing us, clearing an energy field of all negativity, and surrounding us with Christ consciousness, one of true love, true awakening. And with the help of this breath work and this meditation, may everybody's heart open up to the I am that you are, the I am that we are, for we're all part of the I am. Let me just take a breath in now. And as we exhale, just feel that peace and that love enveloping us, covering us with the angelic wings of your angel, and giving you that feeling that you know you are loved. You are love. And as we open our eyes here again into this room, into this space, just know that we're all connected. And whatever we talk about here, whatever you experience, is meant to be. For we're all giver of messages, bringer of hope, bringer of signs. Everything is relevant and nothing is relevant. Everything just is. So I just invite you now, feel your feet firmly on the floor as you shake your toes and just feel yourself coming back into the room with heart energy. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Aye,
beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, let me get
my
the center
pleasure.
over here. Yeah, brilliant. So, thank you, Declan. We had just a magical weekend. I was just thanking you for that. Again, we got to have some music on Friday night with Declan Sinnott and Evelyn Callancy,
Yeah,
and then you hosted me at your home. I got to meet your 94-year-old dad, Joe, who I thought was quite a character.
yep.
And Joe and I had a great time together. And then we did watched a film, and I did an interview, and just a magical weekend. And then we watched Ford versus Ferrari and just had a great old time. And we had lunch. You treated me to some lovely lunch there at West Cork Hotel, and off I went. So here we are catching up. So what would you like to chat about? Thank you again for a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. What I find um, in life, in our life, we might feel ourselves disconnected. And it was just something that I was feeling now this morning, feeling
Okay.
this connection and this vagueness of who am I and where am I? What's it all about? And our society would tell us that we should know who we are by the time we reach a certain age, and you should be already there, and you should have
Mhm.
X, Y, and Z. You should have that house and the 2.5 children, and be a certain place in work.
Mhm.
And that might be true for some people, but it's not true for all of us.
Yeah,
However, that's not to say that we don't all feel that disconnection sometime and feel that longing, that wondering, where am I? What's it all about?
sure,
And
sure.
that can bring us all sorts of places. Some healthy, some not so healthy. But I find,
Yeah,
like just what we just did there a few minutes ago, by taking time to connect with our heart and with love energy, that we can
yeah,
bring ourselves back into the here and now, and
yes,
knowing that it's we're all divine beings and we're all here to experience life in whatever shape or form it happens to be.
sure,
And today is just another expression of life. And
sure.
it's like, rather than asking, well, ah, what can I what can I get? Like that great American president said, ask what you can give. John F.
Right,
Kennedy, I think it was. Or
right. That's right.
yeah, ask what you can give and what you can do. And when
Yes,
we can ask ourselves that, then we become people of service. Then
yes,
we start doing God's work, if you like, or what
yes,
it
yes.
is that our hearts. Because I believe that we're all here, that we're all helpers and
Yeah,
receivers all at the same time,
yeah,
and that it's our not duty, but it's our obligation
yeah.
to share ourselves with others, to help
Sure,
increase the light of the high vibration of everybody in life,
sure,
and thereby helping ourselves too. So it's
sure.
a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
it's a lesson that we learn continuously, day by day.
Yeah,
And
man.
when we
Yeah,
find ourselves, oh, here we are again. What's it all about? Ask,
right.
how can I get out there and help one person
That's right.
and see the
That's right.
change that makes with you? Put a smile on
Beautiful.
your face, and hey, boy, everything is different. You
That's
know,
right, man. Yeah,
we 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 have this ability to use perception. We have these higher faculties that not everybody is aware of. We have
right.
intuition, we have discrimination, we have feelings, we have all these higher faculties that we can use to discern where we are and
Sure.
to connect ourselves with our higher being and to
Mhm.
come from a deeper place and a more loving place where we can connect wholly or more completely with those around us. So
Beautiful.
that's a challenge. That's a challenge for me day by day. It's a challenge for everybody, I think,
It
because
is.
we can get caught up in our own drama and find ourselves like the that little animal going around in a wheel.
Sure.
Uh, that we need to stop that wheel and connect with nature. I'm fortunate enough now that I'm looking straight out the window, and it's
Yeah.
lovely. I'm looking at the bushes. I've got little birds there. They're
Yes.
singing away. I can watch my vegetables growing, so that can
Right.
I can send energy to that, and that in turn gives me back energy.
Sure.
So the love
Sure.
that I send out to the plants comes back to me in multiple forms, not just in the beauty of what I'm looking at, but in the nutrition value of the vegetables, because I'm eating pure love
Right.
that
Right.
I am part of.
Right. Very
Our
good.
frequencies are the same.
Sure. Let me jump in. That's wonderful. Yes, and
Yeah.
I know that view. I just sat there a few days ago, and it's gorgeous. You have a beautiful spot to share your wisdom and your love. So, would you like to tell us how you became aware personally of your connection and what's available from spirit in your life?
Absolutely. When I was in my 20s, I found myself, it was in the new year, it was like the 3rd of January. I had just turned 20 or maybe 21. And I found myself unable to go to the toilet, unable to pee. And my stomach was just distending. And I had this pain in the head. And I was thinking, being Christmas time and around New Year's time, that I was suffering from a hangover. And I said, boy, this is one hell of a hangover. But my mother, in her wisdom, phoned the doctor and said, this is not right. There's something wrong. And
Yeah.
the doctor says, oh, get into hospital straight away.
Yeah.
So shortly afterwards, I was admitted. And the next thing I remember, is I'm not sure what the timeline was, but I remember waking up and this doctor standing over me saying, I've just taken 5 liters out of you and I'm just going to insert this tube now and all will be good. Next thing I felt the pain, I was gone.
Wow.
The next time I woke up, I was, and again, it's hard to know time, whether it was 1 week, 1 day, a month, because I found out afterwards that I had been in a coma for, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. But
Wow.
during this time,
My
I had
God.
experiences.
Yeah.
I had an awakening of sorts. I was lying there in the bed, not sure if it's a dream time or if it's reality. But these beings, it's as though I was in a corral and that there was these beings sitting up on the rail above me, looking down, dressed as
Okay.
cowboys because I like cowboy movies at the time. So they
Okay.
appeared to me as cowboys, cowboy figures
Okay.
with the
Perfect.
hats, the Stetson, and
Right.
the boots.
Yeah. Right.
And they didn't talk like we're talking now, but they
Right.
conveyed this deep sense of peace and this deep sense of love
Yeah.
and conveyed that everything is okay, that I
Very
will
good.
get through this,
Yes.
and that
Thank you.
life has something. Life is something special for me, or that I have
Yeah.
something special for life to offer. I
Okay.
just didn't know what that was or what that meant
Sure.
even.
Sure.
And now also during this time, I was on the Titanic when it was sinking, and I experienced
Wow.
not so much passing over. It was just peace and calm, but I know it was
Okay.
on the Titanic when it was
Wow.
sinking, and
Wow.
various other death experiences.
My
And if
goodness.
you like, I think when we cross the veil or when we're at the veil, we have the ability to go backwards and forwards at the same time.
Okay.
It's everything is there. It's as though it's a movie just playing, and we can see the timeline, and everything is just yeah, I remember that. And our different time, our different lives, our different experiences that we had, what was relevant in that time.
Sure.
So we all have this ability to go backwards and forwards in our mind, in time, to bring the best of that time. Now,
Okay. Okay.
for me, it was this knowing that we are more than this physical being here. We're
Yeah.
a lot more. We're here
Yeah.
to experience this life,
Yeah.
and a lot of people sort of forget that this life it's to be experienced, to be enjoyed, to make the best of it. And people can get caught off. Oh, I have to have this. I have to have that. That everybody has a unique gift, something that or a talent that they have down on this lifetime now to share that, to bring that forth, and to make it the best that they can make it. You just need to find out what that is.
Sure.
For me,
Sure.
I was training to be a chef at that time, so I was traveling all around the world, experiencing different things. And a lot of people I was coming into contact with, they were shamans and witch doctors and all sorts of magical beings and magical people. And a lot of it
Brilliant.
I was wondering, did that happen, or was that just something that I conjured up in my mind?
Really?
Because a lot of the experiences were so, and especially in Mexico and South America, like these experiences were just so far gone that
Right.
it's like, did it happen? Did it not happen? I had a guy
Okay.
who used to bring me crystals. He said he came from Chichen Itza, which was on the other side of Mexico. I think it was
Yeah.
like a day and a half drive, and he used to just magically show up, and he'd
Wow.
now whether this was just a story he was telling me, or whether he really was time shifting and
Sure.
going
Sure.
backwards and forwards.
Can we finish your time in the hospital though, and then come back to this? Is that all
Oh,
right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Sure. Sure.
The
You're doing great. You're doing great. Yeah.
well, like Billy Connolly says, he starts telling you off one joke, and next thing he's way off somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I know. That's why I'm here. You see. Like,
exactly. Well,
okay.
lead the way,
You're
lead the
welcome.
way.
You're
Anyway,
welcome.
in hospital, it came back
Yes.
that I had to learn how to walk again. I was a paraplegic for quite a while. My muscles were just all wasted away. And like
Wow.
that too, when I first saw my body, when I was able to move my head and I first saw my body, it was like, yeah, deep depression.
Wow.
Again, the beings came to me, held my hand, held me in the embrace of love, and
Okay.
just uh, gave me the signs that it's okay.
Yes.
Life will be fine. We're going to get through this.
Right. Good.
Um,
Wonderful.
Shortly afterwards, I was told, the doctors told my parents that it'll be 2 years before I'll get out of the situation. I might never get
Was
out
it?
of the situation.
Yes. I mean, sorry, Deck. Wasn't it the prognosis that you wouldn't survive at
Oh,
one point?
absolutely. Yeah. I was supposed to die. A,
Let's see.
a monk came into me. My parents were said this weekend, if there's no change, that's it, he's gone. So
Okay.
I was measured up. I suppose I was in the ICU ward. I would have been in the death ward at the time.
Okay. Bless you.
So a monk came in, a missionary from Africa, and he said his prayers over me.
Wow.
And for the first time in whatever long period of time, I opened up my eyes and
Wow.
I said, "Is the turkey ready yet?" And they all said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, stick it in the feckin' oven and stop looking at it." And from that moment on, I started to get better.
Of
And my mother,
course.
God bless her, she knew instinctively that
Amazing.
everything was going to be okay because she
Okay.
was experiencing the psychic experience that I was experiencing. Do we have
Okay.
this mother son
I
connection, mother
see.
child
I
connection?
see. All right.
So I started to get better. But like I said, I was in there for 6 months. I was supposed to be in there for 2 years. I said within 6 months I'll be tracking across Europe, and they said,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so as soon as I could get my limbs working back again, I was still in the wheelchair. I was sent out to the rehabilitation center, St. Michael's, out in Dunleary, out that way,
Okay.
and I was still having these experiences, these out of body experiences, and I was visualizing things, and I was seeing people, which this was very interesting. I
Yeah.
was seeing people as different animals and different fish. I was
Wow.
seeing people as reptiles. I was seeing
Wow.
people, not everybody now,
Yes.
but there were
Yes.
certain people that they were showing up as a reptile or as a fish or as a particular type of animal, which I found fairly strange.
Yes.
But very interesting because it was easy then to remember, oh, that was the fox. Oh,
Right. Right.
that was the
Right.
fish head. And this is how I was referring to people.
Amazing.
And the physiotherapist said to me one day, she said, whatever it is you're saying down there in the community hall, she says, be quiet because they're watching you. They're lining you up for the straight jacket. I said, oh Lordy Lord. I said, I'd be better careful. Frightened the life out of me. Because at
Yeah.
that time, there was, if you were experiencing something different that they couldn't explain, not me, but
Sure.
them, you
Sure.
were put in a straight jacket, given loads of drugs, and oh, that
Yeah.
boy's for the
Yeah.
birds.
Yeah. Bless you.
So but at the same time I suppose like that too, I was kind of guarded then as to what I
Well,
said
that would
because
do
I
it. Comments like that would definitely put you on your guard. Sure.
absolutely, because
Yeah.
at that time as well, because of where I was, the priest
Yeah.
was around all of the time. There was always a priest there. And
Okay.
so I
Right.
figured, well, if anyone's going to know about these experiences, these connections with love that I had, would be the priest.
One hopes.
Not so, not so.
No.
He admonished me for even thinking that I could have a connection with spirit without going through him. And he said, no, no, no. He said, son, he says, no, that's the medication that you're on. You can't
Right.
experience God that way. You have to go through me to experience God.
Right.
And this is
Great.
something that I knew was a
Sure.
whole lot of baloney.
Yes. Good for
So
you.
it's you start to, when you feel the truth of things, you start to question everything. And
Sure.
you know that a lot of what we were told especially at that time, was false.
Sure.
And you begin to use your own discernment and ask questions and find out for yourself what's true.
Yes. Thank God.
I know I had connected with spirit. Now I
Yes.
believe that spirit is everywhere. Everybody
Yes.
has this connection, that we all have angels, we all have our guides, and they're there with
Okay.
us 24/7.
Yeah.
And especially at times when we're in difficulty, when we need help, they show up. They don't always
Right.
show up as physical forms or in a way that we can recognize, but help always shows up.
Right.
Our job
Right.
is to ask for help, not to
Yes.
think that we can do it all by ourselves.
Sure. Sure.
But when we're having difficulties, ask for help and then
Yes.
wait for the answers because the
Yeah.
answer will always come. The
Yes,
answer
my
will
friend.
always come.
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I
Wait on the Lord. Yes. Bless you.
I was asking myself, is this true about a guide being there to help me, to be there with me? And I said, I'm going to put him to the test. And I would do something very stupid. And lo and behold, every time I did something very stupid, help came. I was
Wow.
diverted.
Right.
Um,
Thank God.
Either, and by I mean stupid, I jumped onto the ship one time,
You
moving
did what
ship.
now? Sorry, you
Jumped
what?
on, I jumped onto a moving ship.
Okay.
It was in Mexico, and
Right.
I was in the hotel across from the pier. And
Right.
at that time, the clock went forward twice, and went back twice. And so I always set my clock forward so that I wouldn't lose out. And so I'm talking to this nice young lady in a cantina in Mexico, having a few drinks. The place was very busy, and all of a sudden it's kind of looking around, and the place is always very quiet. And I said, "Wow!" Look at the watch. Say, "No, no, no, still have time." And then I hear, because they always do, ring the bell, ring the boop,
Right.
boop, before
Right.
when they get ready to take off.
Right.
All of a sudden I hear choo choo, and I'm about 15 minutes away from the ship, which
Right.
is heading off now. I
Okay.
got out of that place and I started running and
Right.
running. I saw the ship; it had pulled off from the pier, and it was out about a couple of feet. I
Right.
ran even faster. Now, at
Right.
that time, the gangway, the way to get into the ship was like a little square. If you can visualize, like the side of the window, maybe a 10 by 6, 10 by 8. That was
Okay.
your entranceway in the ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just ran for it. And the
Good
ship
Lord.
is pulling out further and further. I think I had about maybe, it felt like 10 or 20 feet, but in reality,
Yeah.
there might have
Very
only been
good.
5. But I ran like hell for leather, and I
Oh my God.
took off.
Right. Yeah.
I flew straight through the door. The plastic things were hanging down. Flew straight through the door. 2 minutes later, I was up in the crew bar, and I said, "Shit, did I just do that?" And then I
That's
was
incredible.
disgusted that nobody saw me, or if they did, they
Oh
never
well,
said anything.
that's a pity. Or a picture.
Yeah. I mean, that's an example of something very stupid to
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
silly.
Yes. So this is brilliant, and you've got all these wonderful stories. So what you're sharing with us, Declan, is that you know you were seriously ill. You were prayed over. You had a connection with your mom spiritually. Spirit was working on you, for weeks. And all the time you were in the hospital. They said you would never survive. You survived. They said you'd be there 2 years. You left after 6 months. And you've thrown yourself. This is what I want people to really understand and appreciate about you, my friend. After that turning point in your life where you didn't really know how real spirit was and how real God was and how deep their love for you and for all of us is, except through your life changing experience, from that moment forward you really became a seeker of the wisdom of the world. And you threw yourself out into the world, traveling all over the world looking for this wisdom. And that's why you're such an extraordinary teacher and such an extraordinary person. You have such a wealth of experience to draw from. Is that fair?
Yeah, and
Good.
because it's only from asking questions. Yeah,
Right.
a real humble me saying yes there. Yeah, how wonderful I am.
Okay.
But
Well,
yes,
you're pretty special, my friend. Yeah, absolutely.
I believe we're all very special.
Yes.
We
Yes.
can get caught up in this thing. Oh, I'm special.
Sure.
Um, I had
No,
a little American lady who used to come into me at the restaurant in Mexico, and she was always saying I was very special, and I suppose it encouraged me to go more out there, to be more, what's the word, searching, to be
yeah.
more curious
Yes.
as to this world that we're living in,
Sure. I
because
mean,
it,
what's special about you, my friend, is first of all, you really do have a heart of gold. I'm here to sing your praises. God love you, and you really, because of the depth of your uh, suffering and surviving and growing, and what Spirit has blessed you with, to go into other lifetimes, to see Spirit, to connect with the angels, all of that. It's not a theory. It's your reality. You have a foot in each world is the way I put it, Declan, and you
Mm.
can bring people into a deeper connection to their own spiritual wisdom and their own guidance. And that's a huge gift. That's a great gift.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's being curious is important. For it's having this curiosity and asking yourself, what if these stories that are in the Bible, which we were told are just all stories, what if they were real? What if these things really did happen? And that there was giants, and I believe there were giants. Well, it's science has proven that there were giants, and in Ireland we're great. We have the little people, the little fairies, and the little
Right,
pixies. We have
right,
all of this magical energy, and
right.
magic has always been part of us, But
Yeah,
in our wisdom, getting into the 20th century, the 21st century, we threw all that out the door.
yeah,
But what if we
yeah.
could go back there? What if we
Amen.
could ask the divine beings for help in
Yes,
the issues that we have with pollution, with the earth, with
yes,
growing things? What if
yeah.
we could create something with their help, in conjecture with instead of against?
Sure.
What type
Wonderful.
of life could we have then?
Yes,
What
yes,
type of
yes,
world could we have?
yes,
And we need to be curious, more curious, and to say, what if? For
yes.
so often we hear, oh, forget it, boy, that ain't going to
Right,
happen. You could never do
right, right,
that,
right, right, right.
and come up with all sorts of excuses why not.
Yeah, yeah.
And all we need to do is turn around and say, well, what if?
Sure,
What can
sure.
we do?
Absolutely. Well, like you're saying, leaping onto a moving ship from 10 or 20 feet on the shore and being in one piece, things like this, as well as getting up from your deathbed and climbing the Himalayas 6 months later, I believe is your story. Can you talk a little bit about your trip to the Himalayas
The Himalayas was, yes.
and how you went from one to the other? That's what's so extraordinary
Well,
as well.
it happened. At first, I was working on the cruise ships, and the I was working on the same ship for I think it was 2 or 3 years, and so a lot of the people were the same. So they were going on vacation and coming back. And this particular time, one of the dancers was back, and he was saying, "We're asking how was your vacation going?" And he said he walked up a mountain, and I said, "Walked up a mountain? What do you mean walked up a mountain?" He said, "Yeah," he said, "I trekked through the mountain for 2 weeks or 3 weeks." I'm thinking, walk through a mountain for 2 or 3 weeks. I couldn't visualize this or get this at all.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I had left the ships and I was back home, and I'm walking through town and I'm walking past this shop window, and I see adverts for the Himalayas. And there
Wow.
they have these mountains and these trekking through the mountains. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what he was talking about.
Wow.
So I think the price of the ticket at that time was just under £2,000, and I think I had £50 in my bank account,
Okay. Okay.
and it was on in 8 months or so. In eight
Right.
months' time, I went in, put the £50 down, and said,
Wow. Yeah.
"I'm going on that walk."
Yeah. Brilliant.
And I saw myself going on that. And again, here's where I called on spirit.
Yes.
I said, "I'm going on this walk.
Yes. Yes.
I said, I need to have X amount of money by such a period of time. Help me."
Yeah.
And bit by bit, money came to me, jobs, came to me.
Right.
And
Right.
the night before I was due to go, I had
Right.
exactly the amount of
Wow.
money that I'd asked for, plus £100 extra.
Brilliant.
And I said, "Oh,
Brilliant.
brilliant
Yeah.
bonus."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm lying in my bed, and this thing's, "Check your ticket, check your ticket." And I said, "No, trust, everything's fine. Check your ticket, check your ticket." I said, "Okay, okay, I'll check the ticket." Check the
Right.
ticket. Oh, I'm supposed to be on a plane here now. So that extra £100 that I had, I needed for the
Right.
ferry to get to England, to
Right.
get to the London Heathrow, and a large
Right.
brandy to get the plane to the Himalayas. Now, the Himalayas,
Brilliant.
people's perception of mountains who've never experienced, if they're only basing it on what we have here, mountains, these are
Yeah.
like, if you like, hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here are the
Yeah.
mountains which are 8 and 7 and 9,000 meters high, or miles or whatever that people get mixed up now with the
Yeah.
distances. When
Yeah.
you're walking up above the clouds, there's still more mountain. There's the
Right.
clouds there, and
Right.
there's more clouds and more mountains.
Right. Right.
You can say you're walking in the fairy heavens,
Sure.
and
Sure.
it's words
Yeah.
can't adequately describe that
Right. Right.
because it is pure magic.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And there's people living up in these places,
Right.
and you're
Right.
thinking about what to eat, and everything has to be carried on your back from
Sure.
down there to get up there.
Sure. Sure.
Uh, but my time up in the Himalayas was
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. I met
Mm.
all sorts of people again up there,
Were you
and it
okay with
was
the Were you
yeah.
okay with the
I read the books before I went on it, and they all tell you about the altitude sickness,
Yeah.
and that your natural combustion is to push through it. It's like no, that's the time that you need to stop and slow down, and
Yeah.
stop
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now when you're
Rest.
walking up a mountain, and parts of it is climbing up, it's like there's steps for most of the part, but a lot of the time it's you're hanging onto branches, and you're it's not like you're climbing up a mountain this way, but it's more
Yeah.
like that way.
Okay.
Your steps, and I had a big stick to help me on the way.
Right. Right.
Uh, but this tiredness was coming, and you can't read.
Yeah.
Panic can sets in,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
thinking, I have to push through this, and it's like no, you have a backpack which is getting heavier and heavier,
Sure.
and when you remind yourself, or at least I was reminding myself, oh, remember the book? Yeah. So stop. So you lean up against something,
Yeah. Yeah.
breathe in, slow your heart rate down,
Yeah.
and you just kind of realize that this is the altitude that you're just feeling here. Just
Sure.
relax.
Yes.
It'll pass, and it does
Yeah.
pass, and then you
Yeah.
you head off again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you see so many people in the lycra suits, and they're belting along 10 miles to the hour, and
Mm.
you say they're missing everything.
Right. Right. Right.
Because
Right.
being in the Himalayas is something to experience, not something that I've taken the photograph. But you
Right.
need to experience it and experience what it's like, because there is this unique type of energy there. Um, I met an
Yeah.
angel there.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, up one of the mornings, overlooking it was there was again they called it a hill that you climbed up at 4 o'clock in the morning to reach the sunset coming up over Mount Everest. Mount Everest was across the way,
Right.
and so I was up there. I've been walking with these Germans. There was three Germans, and I teamed up with them. And so we're up this hill, 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's kind of like there's a plateau, and all of a sudden there's hundreds of people up there. This angelic being comes over to me, because that's the only
Wow.
way I can describe her.
Yeah.
Radiant. I still don't know if it was human, if it was an angel. I call her an angel because she was there and it wasn't there. Uh, she came over and she said, at that time, my aim was to be going up. There was a monastery, another day's walk up into the
Right.
mountains that I was
Right.
heading to. And you go up to
I
these
see.
monasteries, pretty
Yeah.
much like in India, where sacrament, you go in there and you just pray.
Yeah. Yeah.
You give
Yeah.
everything away, and you just stay there and you pray, and all the rest of it.
Okay.
It was a Hindu monastery, a Buddhist monastery,
Yeah.
and she asked me, "Am I traveling further or going down?" And I said, "I'm going down." And she says, "Can I walk with you?" And I said, "Of course." And I look around to the Germans to see, are they experiencing what I'm experiencing? And they're
Right.
just looking at me like,
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever.
and I
Yeah.
look back, she was gone.
Wow.
And it's like, they never mentioned her, and
Right.
I never mentioned her.
Right. Right. Right.
Maybe I should have
Wow.
done. But
Wow.
I waited for, I think we'd arranged to meet at 10 o'clock and to walk down the mountain. And at 10 o'clock at the design time. And about quarter past, there was no sign of her. But this energy took over me.
There you go.
And it was as if I was a young boy. I
Wow.
skipped down the mountain. And he ran down the mountain.
Right.
I was a bit like your man who threw away his walking stick. I can walk. I can walk.
Right. Right.
uh,
Right.
because it was that type of feeling. I was just euphoric. And so I
Beautiful.
sang and skipped and ran down the mountain. And I
Wow.
gave, like I said, I gave my staff away to somebody else
Oh,
that I didn't need it anymore. And it was
amazing.
yeah, it was just a night. It was like being with spirit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a
Yeah.
way to describe it
Yeah.
because
Yeah. I think it worked.
you're
Yeah.
connected to everything.
Sure.
The
Sure.
river was
Yeah.
flowing, and you could feel the river, and instead of like be the river, and you could experience the trees and be the trees, and it was like everything was
Magic.
interconnected, and it felt
Yeah.
like part of being
Yeah.
everything. And it was just a wonderful thing, but
Beautiful.
it wasn't an encounter that you could describe to everyone because I'm having difficulty trying to describe what it was like.
You're doing
Uh,
well.
but
You're
most
doing
people
well.
will sort of look at you and say, "It's a mountain we're talking about here. You walk down the feckin' mountain," and it's like,
Sure.
no, there's more to it than that, you know. And it is
100%.
yes,
Yeah.
the body walked down the mountain, but the spirit also walked down the mountain and was part
Yeah.
connected with all the spirit of everything else.
Yeah.
And that was the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. And I think the message was, as you said, thank you for sharing that. That's gorgeous. You don't need to go to the monastery,
No,
sweetheart.
yeah, yeah,
You've
yeah,
got it.
yeah,
Let's this is your church right here.
exactly,
This
exactly.
is heavy.
And this,
Really.
I think, this is where the obligation comes in. You know that when you know that, there's that saying, um,
To
"I couldn't
share what
see, now I can see.
say again.
I was blind, now I can
Yeah.
see."
Yes, I once was blind, but now I
Yeah,
see.
and they're
Yeah.
not talking about the blind, but they're talking about the human senses,
Sure.
where
Sure
it's
thing.
just in the physical body.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
realize, when you take off those blinkers and realize the magnificence of this earth that we are fortunate and lucky enough
Yeah.
to share with everybody else.
Yes. Yes.
It's a that's seen
Yes.
and seen and of course then once you can see, the obligation is that there's so much trouble and strife out there. We have to sort of say rebalance it and say, okay, well, what can I do? How can
Exactly.
I help
Yes. Yes.
rebalance
Yes.
the situation? And how
Yes.
can
Yes.
I bring more love? And how can I raise the energy up
Yeah.
to open other people's eyes? I
Yes.
think it's from
Yes.
interviews like this, that maybe it might spark off something. It might spark off curiosity in somebody, that somebody be
Sure.
thinking, oh, I wonder if I could do that. Or I wonder if
Sure.
I
Well,
can experience that.
yes, 100%. Excuse me. You're in the flow, and I don't mean to interrupt you, my friend. You're doing great. So people can come and work with you, and you can help them, connect to their inner guidance and bring spirit more into their lives, I believe.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
unfortunately, I how would you say I got rid of my website, and I
I'm
was
not worried about that.
for a while there. I was saying need to get rid of all the social media because it's too distraction and brings you all over the place.
Okay. Okay.
And so
All
I kind
right.
of got rid of everything, and especially after COVID. During COVID time was a very interesting time that um, I found I went inward more and
Yes.
dropped everything else that was
Sure.
outside of me.
Sure.
So I'm
Sure.
in the
Wonderful.
process of having new contacts, if you like, sorted out, or a new way of people connecting with me.
Sure.
So, but
But
at the moment, it's
we can leave your phone number or your email, and people can
absolutely,
contact you. Okay,
absolutely,
my friend. All right.
yeah. And
Good.
all they would have to
Good.
do would be to mention this interview.
Yes.
It
Wonderful.
simple ways are always the best. You
Sure.
know,
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
I,
Absolutely.
I I think as humans we try to complicate things a lot, and we think that, oh, I should have this, I should have that, I should have the other thing, and it's like all we need to have is the connection. you
Yes.
know,
You're absolutely right.
and how easy, because we have a multitude of choices nowadays, how easy it
Yes.
is to connect with people and to
Yes.
open up to people, and
100%.
like that too.
That we can do this that we're doing right here and now. You know,
Absolutely,
is a blessing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Finish your
But
thought there.
I'm also a believer in the '60s when the Americans and the Russians were starting the space program, they were looking into mind control and whether you could
Telepathy and
telepathy and all the rest of it. And I
well,
think the Russians had more success than the Americans, but Russia being
yeah,
Russia, it kind of a
yeah,
lot of that was kind of kept aside.
yeah,
But I do believe that again we're entering this time where the veil is a lot thinner, and where
beautiful.
we all have this ability that if I want to connect with you or anybody else, all you really
Yeah,
have to do, like Star Trek, and I mean this is
right,
what's great about Star Trek and all these type of
right,
movies,
right.
is that if we continuously think about the person and say, I need to connect with you
Yeah,
and hold that person. Now, this is assuming that you know the person and that you have their phone number, but you think about them, and all of a sudden, chances are you're going to meet them on the street and say, I was just thinking about you.
sure, sure,
It
sure.
happens all of the time.
Yes, I
But
just
when
did a
we do
channel
it,
this morning
exactly.
where the veil is lifting. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
perfect.
Yeah,
But when we become conscious of this and do it with intent, oh,
yes, yeah,
again, we can realize that we can create magic.
yes,
And there's a
yes.
song about that. I can
Okay.
do magic, magic, do, 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 do. You know,
Yeah,
get into
yeah,
that little pixie self
sure,
of us and create
sure.
magic, and
Yes.
be that magical being. It's like, oh, yeah, I can do God knows what we can create, you know?
Sure. Oh, that's
And
lovely. Believe me, you're a delight. Your joy and your optimism and hope is all wonderfully infectious. Let me ask you because you're picking up all my little thoughts here and answering questions I haven't even asked, which is usually how it works. When we're in the flow. What is you have a very clear vision. Your love of food and nature are two of the themes in your life.
mm,
Declan is an incredibly gifted chef, and I've eaten many delicious meals that he's prepared. I want to sing his praises here. And he's also extremely knowledgeable about food, nutrition, supplements, and health. I want people to know that is one of your many, many gifts. So, saying all that, I want to invite you, Dec. What's your sense of humanity's near future? And as you said, we're lifting the veil, and miracles are possible every day. Healing is possible. Working with spirit is possible. What's your vision of our future here over the next few years for all of us?
it'll, I believe it will be challenging. It is challenging, but it's also got untold potential. The and again, this is depend on what God or whose God you believe in. I do
Okay.
believe there is a God there, divine
Yeah.
power, divine essence.
Yeah.
And if you like, we're somebody or something is observing us as to our behavior and what we're doing.
Yes. Thank
And like
God.
any good parent,
Yes.
doing the observing, will let
Yeah.
the child, you know, push the barriers a little bit, but eventually they might have to step in and say, hang on, we need to
Yeah.
change this or change that. And that
Yeah.
might be
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
slap on the wrist.
Sure.
It might be having an ice cream cone. Who knows what it is? But I
Right. Right.
believe too that some outer power that we are unaware of will step in and I won't say alleviate, but will allow other ideas because we have to be the ones that's acting. But that
Sure.
it'll open up our consciousness where people who are witnessing to um, I can't even remember the word. If the Palestinians, the Russians, the Ukrainians, any of these
Right.
people who are in these, not to mention Africa and everything that's going on there,
For sure.
that people will say enough is enough,
Yes.
and where we will be given the courage and the divine might to stop all this bullshit
Yeah. Okay.
and to come up with different solutions. For the
Beautiful.
solutions are there,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
There's fuel already there, which is free and which is there for us. We don't have to be relied on petrol, but
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
or something is keeping us there.
Sure, man.
Electricity. Tesla brought it
Right.
in 80 years or 100 years ago. Free
Right.
energy for everybody. And but
Right.
ding,
Right.
ding, 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 greed got in the way.
Sure. Sure.
There are
Sure.
plenty of options out there, and I think
Right.
that people will wake up and people will come together. And it's not through violence. It's not through marching and creating chaos. I mean,
Right.
chaos is part of it, but it's
Yeah.
through the mind,
Okay.
through the heart,
Right.
opening up to love, increasing
Right.
that love energy,
Yeah.
opening up everybody else's love, and
Beautiful.
focusing on the truth. Now, that might sound wishy washy or willy wally.
Not a bit
The
of it.
power of prayer has been proved time after time that it
Yes.
works and that it's
Yeah.
very effective. We
Yes.
just have to believe, you know,
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
and have that intent and that desire to do good, to say
Yes.
enough is enough, and not to
Yeah.
be living in fear, not to be getting caught up in the drama, because that's most people nowadays are caught up in drama, trying to pay
Right.
bills or trying to worry about this, that, or the other, and all you can hear about is more trouble and strife coming down the road.
Sure. Sure.
Again, to get back to what I said a few minutes ago, what
Okay.
if we could create magic? What
Yeah.
if we could design the type of life we wanted? What
Right.
if we could have the right situations and the right people, and where everybody was living in love and peace, and where
Right.
everybody had abundance, and where
Yeah.
everybody was happy and created? But it's we live in a world of duality.
Sure.
We need to have the good and the bad. For without one, we can't have the other. We need
Right.
to have up and down. You can't
Right.
have an inside without an outside.
Right. Right.
You can't have a left without having a right.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
You take away
Yeah.
all the left, you've taken away all the right.
Sure, buddy. Yeah.
It's just part and parcel, but it's
Yeah.
how we operate, it's how we show up. This is what
Yeah.
we can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody has this obligation, this ability to show up, being the best that they can be, and
Yeah.
making sure that their little corner of the world is the best and is
Yeah.
one filled with love and peace,
Beautiful.
and allow
Beautiful.
everybody else to do the same.
Yeah. I.
You know,
I.
and but it's to know, uh, you can't have good people without having bad people. If everybody was good,
Right.
what does that bring?
Right.
Unbalance. It's all about
Right.
balance. You
Right.
know,
Right. But doing our part, as you're saying,
exactly.
and having that faith and that humility and that generous spirit, that loving, kind, giving spirit, and looking for opportunities to love life and love each other and take care of each other.
Yeah.
And then the door opens. Yeah. Well, you're a delight. I love you madly. I'm always thrilled to be in your company, brother. You never fail to uplift and empower me and my little story over here every time we connect, and it's always a pleasure. Is there anything in particular you want to invite people to seek you out in terms of your work and your mission here?
Yes, but anybody who's interested, currently I have, um, I won't say morning prayers, but I do a morning,
Yes,
what would you
a
call
daily
it?
message. Would I say a daily message deck?
Yeah, a daily message. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, which is
So people could
wonderful.
find me on Facebook and could definitely tune into that and listen to it. But I
Yes, it's
also
wonderful.
will be doing master classes on different things, relating to how we can better ourselves and how we can create the
Great,
type of life and bring more magic into our lives and the lives of others. That will be
great.
that will be happening down the road a bit. But for the moment, definitely my Facebook message in the morning time would be a good place
Okay,
to start.
brilliant. Is your email or your contact information
Yes,
available there? Want to give it?
I
Okay.
can. My
Yeah, you
phone
go on.
number is 086 403 5426. Facebook is Declan Kavanaugh, and as you can see my this with this face.
Yeah, of course, with
uh,
the lovely face. Yes.
yeah, and my email is deckav1 at gmail.com. So deccav1 at gmail.com.
Brilliant,
Very
brilliant.
original.
It's lovely, and you're lovely, my friend. Yeah, you've got a big message and a big heart, and you're putting it out there, and I'm truly grateful to you for the courage it takes, Declan, to be your good self, your wonderful, inspiring, free spirited self, happy inner child self, and
That's it.
you're an inspiration and definitely an angel in my life, brother. And I'm very grateful that we could talk about it and share your message with people today.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, pleasure. Thank you. Well, we'll leave it there for
Listen,
right now, and to be continued. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, my friend. Thank you so much. God
Lou, thank
bless
you
you.
very
Have
much.
a wonderful day. You're very welcome. Peace and blessings.
Take care now. Bye.